Good morning, class 10. So, today we will be discussing a poem that is Tiger in the Zoo. A Tiger in the Zoo. And this is written by George Leslie Norris. George Leslie Norris was a prize winning Wales poet. You know, Wales, England, Ireland, and Wales. Wales is an island in Great Britain. And he was a Welsh poet and a short story writer, and he is considered as most important Welsh writer of the post-war period, and his literary works have won many prizes. And his famous works are like Finding Gold, The Loud Winder. Okay, so here in this poem, the poet explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo, and the poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. And the poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun, like in the zoo. Okay, and the poem begins with a description of a tiger that is a very beautiful and is walking in his little cage, and he has a beautiful stripe on his skin, but the tiger is not happy, and he is quite angry about being confined in the cage. And the poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the zoo cage, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body, and in order to catch its prey, that is the deer, and he would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. But the reality is totally opposite to this. He was confined in a cage which made up of strong building materials, and he was helpless there. He could not show his power to the visitors, and therefore he never tried to terrorize the visitors. And the tiger is described as being powerless and agonized by the poet, and he says that during night he is alone, hearing the voice of the patrolling vehicles of the police, and looking. He used to look at the stars, and the cage life was totally challenged. The cage life was totally changed the tiger's personality, and the poet is trying to say that that animal, which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom, is confined and sad due to the human beings. And he wants to derive pleasure by looking at him in the zoo cage. So now I will explain the poem stanza wise. Okay. Then I will tell the poetic device used in every stanza. So, in the first stanza, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rays. Stalks means stalking, following. Okay, follow. Vivid means bright colored, shining, vivid colored. Pads mean paws of tiger, paws. Okay, and rage means anger. So here the poet says that the tiger is confined in the zoo, and he moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. The color of the skin is very bright and yellowish color with black stripes. And he further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is very small, and for him it is not very easy to move. And he also says that one cannot hear his footsteps because he was very soft feet. He has very soft feet like velvet, and By this, for the for this velvet pause, there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps, and the tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage, and he is angry because he is not free. He is confined in the zoo by the human. That's why he is very angry. But he cannot show his anger. Right? So here in the first stanza, the poetic device, the rhyme schemes, that is, see, cage and raise, the few steps of his cage, and the last line in his quiet raise. So these so cage and raise, these two words are rhyming. So the rhyme scheme is A B C B, right? A B C B, and the literary devices, like here the tiger is personified because the poem refers him as he, so the tiger is personified. So this is a literary device. We can find metaphor, like tiger's paws are connected with velvet, so pads of velvet, so this is a metaphor. So pads that are made of velvet is compare, so it's an example of metaphor. We can find enjambment because the sentence is continuing to the next line without any punctuation mark, right? The whole first stanza is a single sentence, so that is an example of enjambment. We can find consonants, like the use of consonant sound, repetition of consonant sound, like that is stalks his stripes. Stalks his stripes in the first line of the first stanza. You can find assonance, the use of repetition of vowel sound, like in his vivid stripes, I sound is repeating, so it's a assonance. We can find oxymoron, use of adjectives opposite in meaning, that is quite raise. Quite raise, quite means gentle and raise means anger, so two adjectives opposite, right? Use of adjectives opposite in meaning, right? In the last line of the first stanza, quite raise. So this is an example of oxymoron. Now coming to the second stanza, he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Lurking means hiding. Okay, so here the poet says that if the tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water body, so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. So basically the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in a jungle where he could catch his prey and eat. But the tiger is confined in the zoo, that's why he can't do so. That's why he is very unhappy and angry. So here in this stanza, the rhyme pattern is grass and pass. These are rhyming, so the rhyme pattern is A B C B. Okay, and the literary devices, like you can find enjambment because the line continues to the next line without punctuation marks. You can find alliteration, the use of plump pass, So P sound is repeating. Okay, in the start of two words. So this is alliteration, and in this, and you can find imagery, like the poet has tries to create an image of tiger's activities like lurking in the shadows. So here in this stanza, the poet is trying to create an image through the poem, how a tiger, you know, catch or hunts, right? Now, in the third stanza, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Snarling means giving warning, okay, or warning sounds made by animals. Then baring means uncovered. Fangs means sharp tooth of animals. So the poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize the people with his sharp tooth and claws, and this would create fear among the people who are living in that villages, right? So rhyme scheme is as followed, like A B C B. No, here rhyme scheme is age and village. So age and village is rhyming, that means A B C B. Yeah, A B C B. You can find consonants, that is his fangs, his claws. So S sound, his fangs in the third line, his claws. S sound is repeating, so is example of consonants. You can find assonance because the use of vowel sound. Should around houses, he should be snarling around houses. So should around houses, this O sound is repeating in a same line. So this is an example of assonance, vowel O. And you can find one more assonance, that is his white fangs, his claws, baring his white fangs, his claws. So this I sound is repeating, I vowel. Okay, now in the fourth stanza, but he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Concrete means, building, right? Cemented building, sand and water, with sand and water. So now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. And he said that the tiger is confined in a strong cell, and which is made of strong building material. And he further says that as the tiger is behind the bars, his ferociousness is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because of his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitor as he cannot attack them. Right? So here the rhyme scheme, bars and visitors. So bars and visitors are rhyming. That means the rhyme scheme will be A, B, C, B. And you can find alliteration because behind bars. So this B, sound B is repeating. Use of sound B at the start of two words behind bars. You can find consonants that the use of consonant sound. S, his strength, bars. His strength behind bars. So his S, strength S, and bars S. So S sound is using, repeating. So is a consonants. Now in the last but not the least, the last stanza. He hears the vast voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Patrolling means guarding. Okay, patrolling car. So he hears the last voice at the night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So the poet says that in the night the tiger hears the sound of a patrolling car. Patrolling car is one kind of vehicle of police which are used to guard at night. So in the night the tiger hears that sound, and he then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. And the poet wants to say that the tiger is sad and he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. So therefore he stares at the star in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them, right? He was explaining, he was expressing his reason of sadness to the stars because no one is there to listen to him. So here the rhyme scheme, cars and stars are for rhyming. So A B C B. Okay. So this is the poem Tiger in the Zoo. Here in the poem, in the begins with a description of a tiger. It is beautiful. First stanza, and he is walking in his little cage, and he has a beautiful stripe on his skin and has a velvet-like soft paws. But the tiger is not happy and he is quite angry because he is confined in the cage. Then the poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the zoo cage, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body in order to catch or hunt its food, that is deer, and he would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. And in the third stanza, but in reality he is totally opposite to this. He was confined in a cage which was made up of strong building material, and he was quite helpless. He could not show his power to the visitors. Therefore, he never tried to terrorize them. And the tiger is described as being powerless and agonized by the poet. He says that during night also he is alone, hearing the voice of the patrolling vehicles. And that time he is looking at the stars, and he is depicting his cage life. That the life has totally changed the tiger's personality. And the poet is trying to say that the animals which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom is confined and sad due to the human beings, due to us who want to derive pleasure by looking at the zoo cage. Thank you.